Hi guys. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how to create long-term trend lines. I'm going to tell you exactly what a trend line is. By the end of this video, you should be able to create these on your own. They're actually very, very simple, and this video is not going to take that long. By the way, this is just an example of one of my charts. See how complex it is? There are a lot of lines everywhere, and it may look like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But by the end of this course, hopefully all of this will make sense. You'll be able to create all these things on your own to make effective analysis. This is actually a trade I'm in right now, the USD CAD. I believe I'm up about $60 to $70 right now. And by the end of this trade, hopefully I'll be up 400. So hopefully that goes well. But I made this trade because I use a combination of different techniques that I am showing you in this course altogether combined simply into one strategy that enabled me to make this decision to buy this currency because it's going up. And as you can see, it has been going up. So without further ado, let's go ahead. I'm going to create a fresh page just so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Now, a good example I'm going to use is the Euro CAD. Okay? Oh wait, hold on. We already made. Okay, we made resistance lines on this last time. So, I'm going to go ahead all the way to the beginning. So this is the I want to click the weekly chart. The weekly candlesticks because that'll take me all the way. If I zoom out, I could practically see the beginning of the currency. Now, when you want to create a trend line is essentially a diagonal straight line. And the reason why it's diagonal is because if it's diagonal, it's either going generally upwards or it's going generally downwards. So I'm gonna give you an example of this. A great example of what I'm talking about, and this is the long term because we're looking at, if you look down at the timeline, you can see this is a matter of years that you're looking. The currency has been fluctuating. We can go ahead and see this. So here, I'm going to draw one, and I'm going to explain what it means. So I'm going to go over to this tool. I'm going to click trend line, and I'm going to draw it. And hopefully you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this right here is a trend line. Now, yeah, it's kind of confusing to see it within amongst all the blue lines, but just bear with me here. Try and keep your eyes focused on this yellow line. I'm going to make it a little thicker so you can see it properly. So the yellow line is what we call a trend line. Now, a trend line, like I said, is a diagonal line that is either going generally upwards or it could be going generally downwards. Now, in the long term, you want, or even in the short term as well, what you want a trend line to do is that you want certain peaks and troughs to hit the trend line, right? To bounce off of this trend line. So, for example, you can see right here, this currency was going downwards, right? And then bounced off this yellow line, started going upwards, right? Then it kept going down, bounced off this yellow line again, went upwards. Went down, bounced off the yellow line again, went upwards, bounced off the yellow line. So what makes sense here? I mean, it bounced off the yellow line again. Wouldn't you just buy this currency pair? Which is what I've been doing. I've been making money simply because it not only bounced off, this is great because it actually bounced off this blue line, which is the weekly resistance that we created earlier, and it bounced off the yellow line, the yellow trend line as well. So this is a perfect opportunity for a buy. I mean, this is a great setup, so I mean, it's a great opportunity to buy the currency. So, a couple people will say, okay, what if it just went straight through the yellow line? Is that a good opportunity to sell? Of course, because if it broke through the yellow line and it broke through the blue line and started heading downwards, then it has enough momentum and strength to keep going downwards. If it can break these particular strong long-term lines. And that's the whole point of what I'm teaching you. This is technical analysis. You want to check the peaks and troughs of the chart. Has it broken certain resistance and support lines? So, okay, so I believe I call this blue line a resistance line. It's actually a support line, sorry, because it bounced off this because it bounced off of it and started heading upwards again. So that's a support. If it broke through it, it's still a support. It broke the support line. But because it bounced off it and is heading upwards, it's a support line. Okay, so another example is maybe at the top of this, you can actually create another trend line. Yeah, no, that doesn't touch that very well. I'll look for another example. But how you know a trend line is really, really good is if it bounces off it at least 3 times. So it has bounced off this yellow line, 3 times. I mean, the next time it bounces off it and it bounces significantly, you're probably going to want to buy because it's a pretty strong, strong trend line. Another example could be right here. You have to spot these things out. Look at this. Right here. This would have been a great opportunity. So it broke through it, but then bounced again. So if you zoom out, it bounced 1, bounced again 2, went up, bounced again 3 over here. So it broke through it over here, went up, bounced off of this resistance line. Remember, it's resistance because if it bounces and goes back down, it's resistance line. The blue line's a resistance line. So the blue resistance, it bounced off the blue resistance line and started heading back down, bounced off the yellow line back up, but then went back down briefly, making a double bottom, but I'll get to that later. And then bounced off the yellow line again all the way upward, kind of bounced off the blue line, broke it a little bit, but then shot back down, and then bounced off the yellow line again. So this would have been a great opportunity for a trend line. I probably would have bought around here, but I wasn't trading in 2005, so but I probably would have bounced up here, and then it would have gone up. And then I would have made money. And then it broke right through this trend line. And once it broke through it, I would start selling, right? Does that make sense? It's really, really that simple. I mean, it's actually that simple. What I would do probably is zoom in, and then when I see it's broken in the shorter term as well, I'd probably just set a good opportunity to sell at a good point and make money. So another thing I want to point out here is that you can actually zoom in and make even smaller trend lines. They don't have to be that big. Like, look at this one right here, right? This is also a trend line. This one's generally going downwards. Can you see that? It kind of bounced off of it right here. Let's say if I put this like right here. It kind of bounced off it here, went back down, bounced off it again. It went up and bounced off this yellow line, went back down, went up, bounced off this yellow line, went back down, bounced off the yellow line, went back down, bounced off this yellow line, and then had enough momentum to break through this. Okay, so this trend line is going downwards, generally downwards. So if it bounced off of this bottom trend line that's going generally upwards, broke through the generally going downwards trend line, and went up. This is a perfect opportunity for a buy. I would buy it right about here once it broke. It also made a W shape. I'm going to get to shapes later, but this is a perfect opportunity for a buy as well. This would have been a great buy, and it would have gone up from 1.55925, read on the right, all the way to about 1.6. Man, that's about 4,000 pips. No, that's like 6,000 pips. That's a lot of pips. Or is that 600 pips? 600. I'm so bad at math sometimes. I believe that's 600 pips. Yeah. So that's a lot of pips, guys. That is a lot of pips. That's 600 pips. Let's see if we can find another one on this same chart. I'm just using one chart. Honestly, you can find so many of these on one chart. Look at this one right here. You can spot. Sorry. No, that's not what I wanted to create. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna create this and put it. Actually, let's do this one right. All right. So this one's kind of a stretch, but it still works. So when I say it has to touch it, that's kind of a general loose rule. As long as it generally guides it and break. The whole point is that a trend line is supposed to show a trend. This trend right here is a trend going upwards, but you can see it broke the angle right here. It started going down. And then it bounced up because you can see that it hit this weekly support. It bounced up because of the weekly support, but then eventually, because it broke this yellow angle, this yellow trend line, it still had enough momentum to go all the way down and shoot down. So this would have been a great opportunity to sell around here. I would have set a hefty stop loss, just so that I can stay in the trade and wait for it to go all the way and shoot down, because you can make money off the short, off the sell, right? So, yeah, okay. Let's try and find another one. I think another one could be right here. Okay. So do you see that? Perfect. This is also a trend. It's another trend. And these are all long-term trends. These are years worth of trends. Can you see that? Once it broke it right here, I would buy and set a stop loss for around down here. And if it broke this, if it went down there, that means, definitely, like, it's probably still going to keep going down. But since it broke it here, it had enough momentum to keep going up for the next couple of years. Do you see that? That is perfect. And then it broke this trend line down here. So this is how you create long-term trend lines. Let's see if we can find another chart. Um, let's see if we can find. Actually, you don't even need to find another chart, do we? Let's see. Let's leave it this one. All right, look at this one. This is perfect too. It's it's bouncing off this yellow line a little bit. If you can see that, it's bouncing off this yellow line and broke right through it. Great sell. Great opportunity for a sell. Pretty much that whole year, it just went down. Great opportunity for a sell. And actually, we can make another one. Look at this one right here. Perfect. You see that? Bounced off of it. This is actually a shape right here. I'm going to teach you guys that in another form, or sorry, in another video. And it broke through this yellow line and kept going down. All right. So that's the simple technique. That's what we call the weekly trend lines. If you need any more help, you always have my email, and I can go over this a little bit more. But this, hopefully this is making sense. And yeah, that's how you create long-term trend lines. Also, I kind of focused on the ones that are below, but there are also ones that go on the top of it as well. So you can see that this one is going generally downwards, and it's on top of it. You don't have to create ones that are just below the chart. I could create one like this. That's one above it. If it broke, so if it bounced up and down and eventually kept going up above this yellow line, like a lot, and then even past this weekly resistance right here and kept going up and broke right through that, then I would definitely buy it, right? Because it has enough momentum to break through this trend line and break through this blue line. And the reason why I talk so much about momentum is because these charts are really patternistic. And it likes to follow, the Forex charts like to follow a certain pattern, certain shapes. And if it eventually breaks through these trends, then it has enough momentum to keep going in that direction most times. Not always, but most times. And this is a probability game. You want to get in as many trades as possible so that you can make money in the long run if you have the proper strategies. Following this strategy, more times, look at how many times it broke through these yellow lines and you would have made money. Literally almost every time it happened. When you broke through this one, you would have gone down and made money. It broke through this one, gone up, made money. Broke through this one over here, gone down, make money. You see what I'm saying? It just happens over and over again. So you gotta always look out. And it doesn't even have to break through for you to make money as well. You can make money once it bounces off a trend line as well. So it bounced off this one and started going back up. It's probably going to keep going all the way back up. Kept going up, down, kept going up and down. So you just have to keep an eye out for these things. This is how you create long weekly, trend lines.